My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this story begins with a feeling many hearts understand, the feeling of missing someone whose presence once brought comfort, peace, and a special kind of happiness. Listen carefully, because sometimes the most powerful conversations begin long before words are spoken. They begin in quiet moments, in memories that return unexpectedly, and in the realization that some people leave an impact on our hearts that time cannot easily erase. This is not about knowing exactly what someone else is thinking, but about exploring the emotions that exist when two people have shared something meaningful. Imagine a person sitting alone late at night, surrounded by silence, when suddenly an old memory appears. A smile. A conversation. A moment that seemed ordinary at the time but now feels unforgettable. They pause and realize how many things they never said. How many feelings they kept hidden because they were afraid of being misunderstood. How many times they wanted to reach out but allowed uncertainty to stop them. Don't skip, because this is where the heart begins to speak. Sometimes people miss each other not because everything was perfect, but because something about that connection felt genuine. They remember the comfort of being understood, the laughter that came naturally, and the moments when they didn't have to pretend to be someone else. Those memories become reminders that meaningful connections are built through patience, kindness, and the willingness to truly see another person. Listen carefully. A heartfelt conversation does not always begin with a dramatic confession. Sometimes it begins with a simple message. A small question. A sincere apology. A moment where someone finally decides that honesty is more important than pride. The words may not be perfect, but the intention behind them can carry deep meaning. Because sometimes the thing people need most is not a perfect explanation, it is the feeling that someone finally cares enough to listen. Stay till the end, because the emotional turning point is not about waiting endlessly for someone else to make a move. It is about understanding the value of communication and self-respect. If two people truly want to rebuild a connection, it takes effort from both sides. It takes openness, forgiveness, and the courage to talk about what was never spoken before. A strong bond is not created by guessing feelings, it is created by honest conversations and consistent actions. Imagine the moment when two hearts finally have the chance to speak without the weight of old misunderstandings. There may be nervousness. There may be hesitation. There may be moments where emotions become overwhelming. But beneath all of that is something powerful. The desire to be understood. The desire to know that the other person remembers, cares, and values what they once shared. Don't skip this part, because this changes everything. Sometimes the conversation we hope for teaches us something unexpected. Sometimes it brings people closer together. Sometimes it brings healing and closure. But either way, an honest conversation can free the heart from carrying questions alone. It can replace confusion with clarity and replace fear with understanding. Listen carefully. If someone has a special place in your heart, remember that love is not only about longing for someone. Love is also about becoming someone who communicates with kindness, respects boundaries, and chooses growth. The strongest connections are not built on emotions alone. They are built through trust, patience, and the daily choice to treat each other with care. Stay till the end, because the final message is the one your heart needs to remember. Never measure your worth by whether someone reaches out at the exact moment you hope they will. Your value was never created by another person's attention. You are already worthy of love, respect, and happiness. The right conversations in life happen when people are ready to meet each other with honesty and maturity. And perhaps the most beautiful part of this journey is realizing that every meaningful connection leaves behind a lesson. Some people teach us how deeply we can feel. Some teach us how to heal. Some remind us of the importance of speaking our truth before silence becomes regret. My beloved child, carry this message with you. If a heartfelt conversation is meant to happen, let it come through honesty, respect, and genuine effort. Do not chase what is meant to be understood. Do not lose yourself while waiting for someone else. Continue growing, continue loving, and continue becoming the best version of yourself. Because the greatest love stories are not created by perfect timing or endless waiting. They are created when two people choose courage over fear, truth over silence, and kindness over pride. And when that moment arrives, the conversation that once felt impossible may become the beginning of a beautiful new chapter. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this chapter goes deeper into the emotions that are often hidden behind silence. Sometimes the hardest thing for a person is not feeling something, it is finding the courage to express it. Imagine someone looking back at a connection that once brought warmth into their life and realizing that there are still words waiting to be spoken. They remember the moments that made them feel understood, the conversations that felt effortless, and the comfort of knowing there was someone who truly listened. Those memories become a quiet reminder that meaningful bonds deserve honesty and care. Listen carefully, because this is where the heart begins to change. The person you care about may be facing their own inner questions, their own fears, and their own moments of reflection. Every person carries emotions differently. Some people speak immediately, while others need time to understand what they truly feel. Sometimes distance is not about a lack of care. It can come from uncertainty, life circumstances, or the struggle to communicate emotions clearly. Understanding this creates space for compassion instead of assumptions. Don't skip, because this changes everything. Picture a moment when someone finally decides to stop running from an important conversation. They take a deep breath and think about what truly matters. They realize that pride cannot create the connection they desire, and silence cannot solve the questions inside their heart. They begin thinking about the words they wish they could share, not perfect words, not dramatic promises, but honest ones. Words that say, I want you to understand what I felt. I want to know what you experienced. I want us to speak with kindness. Stay till the end, because the most powerful part of this journey is not the waiting, it is the growth that happens during the waiting. While hoping for a conversation, you also discover more about yourself. You learn the importance of patience, emotional strength, and knowing your own worth. A meaningful connection should add peace to your life, not take away your sense of self. Love becomes stronger when two people come together because they choose each other, not because one person is incomplete without the other. Listen carefully. Imagine the first few moments of that heartfelt conversation. There may be nervous smiles, pauses between sentences, and emotions that are difficult to explain. There may be apologies for things that were never said and appreciation for moments that were never forgotten. The conversation may not erase every challenge, but it can create something valuable, a chance to finally understand each other's perspective. Sometimes healing begins with simply allowing two people to be honest. Don't skip this part. Every connection has a story behind it. Every person has battles that others cannot see. The person who seems distant may have their own reasons, and the person who feels forgotten may also carry their own pain. When both sides choose empathy, they create a space where trust can slowly return. The strongest relationships are not built because two people never struggle. They are built because they learn how to face struggles with respect and compassion. Stay till the end, because the next chapter is about the moment when emotions become clearer and choices become more meaningful. Whether a conversation leads to rebuilding, healing, or simply a better understanding of each other, honesty always brings freedom. The heart becomes lighter when it no longer has to carry endless questions alone. And sometimes, the most beautiful beginning starts with one simple decision: to speak from the heart and truly listen. My beloved child, remember this: your story is still unfolding. A person's presence in your life can be meaningful, but your happiness and peace must always remain your own foundation. Continue growing, continue becoming stronger, and continue believing that genuine connections are built through patience, respect, and truth. Because when two hearts are ready to communicate with sincerity, even a difficult chapter can become the doorway to a new understanding. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this chapter takes us deeper into the moment when hidden emotions begin turning into honest understanding. There are times in life when people realize that the silence they created was never as peaceful as they imagined. They thought distance would make things easier, but instead, it gave them more time to reflect on what truly mattered. In those quiet moments, memories return, questions appear, and the heart begins searching for answers that only honesty can provide. Listen carefully, because sometimes the most important conversations begin inside a person long before they ever reach another person's ears. Imagine the person you care about sitting with their thoughts, remembering the journey that brought two lives together. They remember the small moments that others might never notice, the conversations that lasted longer than expected, the laughter that came naturally, and the feeling of being accepted without having to explain everything. Those memories become reminders of a connection that had meaning. But they also realize something important: memories alone cannot build the future. If a connection is valuable, it needs communication, effort, and the willingness to understand each other's hearts. Don't skip, because this changes everything. The fear that once stopped them from speaking begins to lose its power. They start asking themselves different questions. Not, what if everything goes wrong? But, what if honesty brings peace? Not, what if I am misunderstood, but what if I finally explain what I truly feel? This change does not happen instantly. It happens slowly, through reflection and growth. But once someone understands that silence is no longer protecting them, they begin finding the courage to express what has been hidden. Stay till the end, because the emotional turning point is closer. Imagine a conversation beginning. Not with accusations, not with blame, but with two people trying to understand each other. At first, the words may come slowly. There may be pauses because some feelings are difficult to explain. There may be moments where emotions become stronger than expected. But with patience, the walls begin to come down. The conversation becomes less about who was right and more about what both hearts experienced. Listen carefully. A true connection is not measured only by how much people miss each other. It is measured by how willing they are to create something healthier moving forward. Missing someone can remind you of what mattered, but building trust requires action. It requires showing care through choices, not only through emotions. It requires two people who are willing to meet in the middle and create understanding together. Don't skip this moment. Sometimes the person we miss most is also the person who teaches us the greatest lessons about ourselves. Through distance, we discover patience. Through uncertainty, we discover strength. Through difficult moments, we discover what kind of love and respect we truly want in our lives. Every experience shapes us, and every chapter gives us a chance to become wiser. Stay till the end, because the next part reveals the most important realization. The greatest message is not simply about someone missing you. It is about remembering that your heart deserves honesty, peace, and genuine effort. A beautiful connection should not leave you trapped in endless questions, it should eventually create clarity. Whether two people reconnect, heal, or move forward separately, the goal is the same: to find understanding and emotional freedom. My beloved child, carry this thought with you: never be afraid of a conversation that can bring truth. Never be afraid of growth that can bring healing. And never forget that your value does not depend on whether someone chooses to return. It exists because you are a person capable of love, kindness, and transformation. The story is not ending here. The next chapter is where emotions become clearer, where choices become stronger, and where the heart finally learns that the most powerful connections are not built through waiting alone, but through courage, honesty, and the willingness to truly understand one another. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this chapter reaches the moment where the heart begins to understand what silence was truly trying to reveal. Sometimes people believe that distance means the connection has disappeared, but often distance simply creates a space where emotions become clearer. When there are no distractions, no daily routines, and no easy ways to avoid reflection, people begin facing the thoughts they have been carrying for a long time. Listen carefully, because this is where the deepest emotions begin to rise, not through dramatic moments, but through quiet realizations. Imagine the person you care about having a moment where they finally stop pretending everything is easy. They look back at the choices they made, the words they spoke, and the words they kept hidden. They remember the moments when they wanted to reach out but allowed hesitation to stop them. They remember the times when pride was stronger than vulnerability. And slowly, they begin to understand that protecting their heart by staying silent also meant creating distance from something meaningful. Don't skip, because this changes everything. A person can miss someone and still struggle with knowing how to reconnect. They can care deeply and still have fears they need to overcome. This is why true communication matters so much. Feelings become stronger when they are supported by honesty and action. A heartfelt conversation is not about saying everything perfectly. It is about two people being brave enough to show their real emotions without hiding behind fear. Stay till the end, because this is the moment where the imagined conversation begins to take shape. Picture two people sitting together, finally allowing themselves to speak freely. The first words may be simple. I have thought about you. I wanted to understand what happened. I wish we had talked sooner. These words may seem small, but sometimes the smallest honest sentences carry the deepest meaning. They open the door to understanding, forgiveness, and a new perspective on everything that happened before. Listen carefully. The most beautiful conversations are not always the ones where every problem disappears immediately. Sometimes the most beautiful conversations are the ones where two people finally feel heard. They realize that behind every action was a feeling, behind every silence was a reason, and behind every misunderstanding was a chance to learn something new. When people choose empathy, they stop fighting against each other and start working toward understanding. Don't skip this part, because the heart learns an important lesson here. Love is not only about missing someone during their absence. Love is also about respecting who they are, accepting their journey, and creating a connection where both people feel valued. A healthy bond does not demand perfection. It allows room for mistakes, growth, and the process of becoming better together. Stay till the end, because the next realization is powerful. Sometimes the person we hope to hear from is also a reminder that we must continue choosing ourselves. Your life, your dreams, and your happiness cannot be placed completely in someone else's hands. A meaningful connection should add beauty to your journey, not become the only reason you believe your journey matters. My beloved child, remember this as the story continues: the strongest hearts are not the ones that never feel pain. They are the ones that feel deeply and still choose hope, kindness, and growth. Whether a conversation brings two people closer or simply brings peace to their hearts, honesty always has the power to transform. And now the story moves toward its most emotional chapter, the moment when hidden feelings meet honest words, when questions finally receive answers, and when two people discover what their connection truly means beyond the silence that once stood between them. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this chapter moves into the moment where emotions that were once hidden begin finding a voice. Sometimes the heart carries conversations that never happened, apologies that were never spoken, and feelings that were never fully explained. But there comes a time when people become tired of carrying those unfinished stories alone. Listen carefully, because this is not about a perfect moment or a perfect person. It is about the courage to approach meaningful connections with honesty and an open heart. Imagine the person you care about reaching a point where they finally understand something important. They realize that avoiding a difficult conversation does not remove the feelings connected to it. The memories remain. The questions remain. The desire to understand remains. They begin looking back not only at what went wrong, but also at the moments that showed why the connection mattered in the first place. The laughter, the support, the comfort, and the simple moments that made life feel a little brighter all become reminders of something valuable. Don't skip, because this changes everything. The biggest shift happens when a person stops focusing only on fear. They stop asking, "What if I get hurt?" and begin asking, "What if honesty brings healing?" They start understanding that vulnerability is not weakness. It takes strength to admit that someone mattered. It takes courage to acknowledge mistakes. It takes maturity to have a conversation where both people are willing to listen instead of simply waiting for their turn to speak. Stay till the end, because this is where the emotional journey becomes deeper. Imagine the first words being shared after a long period of silence. At first, there may be uncertainty. There may be nervousness. There may be moments where emotions become difficult to control. But slowly, the conversation begins, creating a space where both people can finally breathe. They no longer have to guess what the other person meant. They no longer have to create stories in their minds. They finally have the opportunity to understand the truth from each other's perspective. Listen carefully. A heartfelt conversation is not about changing the past. It is about creating a healthier relationship with the past. The mistakes, the misunderstandings, and the difficult moments all become lessons. They reveal where patience was needed, where communication was missing, and where both people could have shown more compassion. Growth begins when people stop looking only for someone to blame and start looking for ways to become better. Don't skip this part, because the heart of this story is about choosing what comes next. A meaningful connection is not built by emotions alone. It is built by effort, trust, and consistency. If two people want to move forward, they must create a foundation where both feel respected and valued. A beautiful beginning is possible, but it requires both hearts to participate in building it. Stay till the end, because the final lesson of this chapter is something every heart needs to remember. Never allow waiting to make you forget your own worth. Never allow uncertainty to take away your peace. The love you give is valuable, and the kindness you carry is powerful. Whether a person returns to your life, a conversation brings closure, or a new path opens before you, your journey continues with meaning. My beloved child, carry this message with you. Some connections teach us about love, some teach us about healing, and some teach us about ourselves. Every chapter has a purpose. Every experience leaves wisdom behind. The heart becomes stronger not when it avoids pain, but when it learns how to move through pain with grace. And now, the story moves toward its final emotional moment, the place where understanding replaces confusion, where honesty replaces silence, and where the heart discovers that the greatest conversation is not only about what someone else wants to say, but also about what you have learned to say to yourself. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this is the final chapter, the moment where all the emotions, memories, questions, and lessons finally come together. After the silence, after the distance, and after all the moments of wondering what could have been, the heart finally understands one powerful truth: every meaningful connection teaches us something important. Some connections teach us how to love. Some teach us how to forgive. And some teach us how to become stronger versions of ourselves. Listen carefully, because this is where the story reaches its deepest meaning. The person you care about may have their own journey, their own fears, and their own lessons to learn. Every person carries emotions that others cannot always see. Sometimes people need time to understand themselves before they can fully communicate with someone else. But what truly matters is not only the feelings someone has, it is the choices they make, the respect they show, and the effort they are willing to give. Don't skip this final message, because this changes everything. A heartfelt conversation is not powerful because it promises a perfect ending. It is powerful because it creates honesty. It gives two people the chance to speak without fear, to listen without judgment, and to understand without assumptions. Sometimes one conversation can rebuild a connection. Sometimes it can bring healing. Sometimes it can simply bring peace to a heart that has been carrying too many unanswered questions. Stay till the end, because the most beautiful part of this journey is the transformation that happens within you. While you were hoping for someone else to speak, you were also learning how to listen to your own heart. You discovered your patience. You discovered your strength. You discovered that your happiness cannot depend completely on another person. A true connection should meet you where you are, not require you to lose yourself while waiting. Listen carefully. If two people are meant to continue walking through life together, that path will be created through honesty, kindness, and mutual effort. It will not be built only on memories or emotions. It will be built through actions that show care, through conversations that create understanding, and through choices that bring peace instead of confusion. My beloved child, remember this final truth: never think that a quiet season means your story has ended. Sometimes quiet moments are where the greatest growth happens. Sometimes the unanswered questions lead you toward a deeper understanding of yourself. Sometimes the chapter you thought was about losing someone becomes the chapter where you finally discover your own strength. So carry this message with you. Keep your heart open, but protect your peace. Believe in love, but also believe in your own worth. Welcome meaningful conversations, but never forget that you deserve honesty, respect, and genuine care. The right connections do not ask you to beg for your place in someone's life, they create a space where both hearts willingly choose to be there. And now, as this story comes to an end, imagine closing this chapter with a peaceful heart. The memories remain. The lessons remain. The love and growth remain. But the fear begins to disappear. What once felt like uncertainty becomes wisdom. What once felt like waiting becomes preparation for something better. My beloved child, your journey is still unfolding. The most beautiful chapters are not always the ones where everything happens exactly as expected. They are the ones where you grow, heal, and become ready for the love and happiness you truly deserve. Keep moving forward with courage. Keep choosing kindness. Keep believing that every ending can become the doorway to a new beginning. Because sometimes the greatest message is not the one we receive from someone else, it is the one we finally understand within ourselves. You are worthy of love, you are worthy of peace, and your story is far from over.